Hey guys, welcome back to Bait and Tackle. Today is going to be a pretty interesting episode. I took a dump in my kayak and it was 50-degree water.
What's the water temperature right now?
It's over here at 52.
It was luckily 60 degrees outside and it was actually fairly nice, but I didn't have a dry box with me to put my phones in, so they got wet. My GoPros, I had one on my chest at the time, and I actually saved the footage that was on it of me rolling the kayak and it went into the water. And it probably lasted about 30-45 seconds or something like that. And I'm going to show you that clip here soon. But I wanted to just let you guys know that this happened, and you know, I could have lost my life, technically speaking. Luckily, I've got my wits about me, and you can tell in the video, like, I was quiet for a minute and calmed down. But when I came out of the water, I did take a big breath of air because it was so cold, and it shocked me. It just really shocked me. Now, I wasn't wearing a life vest, which I should have been. And I had one with me, and I stupidly didn't have it on. And luckily I was okay because I was able to think about, if I grab the kayak, it's floating, it's not going anywhere, it's not going underneath water, and I will at least get myself over to shore, paddle myself to shore. So I did that. I grabbed the kayak and I used one arm to get me over to shore. Now I was wearing shoes, pants, a t-shirt, and then I had a hooded sweatshirt on over top of that. Now if I would have been wearing my winter jacket, I probably would have sank right to the damn bottom. But I was okay. I got to shore, got the kayak flipped over, and I was able to get my paddle, get most of my stuff floated, like most of my tackle bags. I had like 5 with me. I lost one that went to the bottom because it had all my terminal tackle, hooks, sinkers, that kind of stuff. It was just too heavy. And I lost 2 poles. So let's watch the clip and then we'll come back and tell the rest of the story. Alright guys, so I hope you caught most of that. I got to explain kind of what happened here, and this is going to be an interesting explanation. So I had a pole and I was casting down the bank sideways, and when I went back like this, I hooked my other pole that I had strapped in, and when I casted, it snagged that pole, but it still went forward because I whipped it so hard and the pole came out of my hands. So it went into the water. I ended up grabbing my paddle and trying to get I was leaned over too much trying to get the pole back, and I leaned over too much. And by the time I knew I was tipping over, I was trying to maintain, and it was too late. I was already going over. So I went into the water. It shocked me because of how cold it was. Now 50-degree water, it's cold, but it's not super cold. I mean, I'm originally from upstate New York, and you know, there the water gets pretty cold. I remember when I was a kid putting docks in the water in the beginning of the season, and the water was still like, 40 degrees. So it's not terrible. You know, if I were to get hypothermia, I think I looked it up, it'd take like over 2 hours to get hypothermia in 50-degree water. Plus the temperature outside was 60 degrees, so it wasn't too bad. But in any event, you could hear me struggle to get out of the water, and I was shocked when I hit it. When I came up out of the water the first time, I was gasping for air. I was like, oh, because I was still shocked. It was still cold. I was still shocked. But I happened to grab onto the kayak. I happened to get myself to shore, and of course the shoreline was super steep, and I was trying to get up on it, so you could hear me struggling, you know, making grunting noises, like trying to get up on the shoreline. But once I got up and out of the water, I was fine. And then I got the kayak flipped back over, got my paddle, got my tackle. I ended up losing 2 rods, which was pretty expensive because they were pretty decent rods. I also lost 1 bag of tackle. Like I said, all my terminal tackle, that went right to the bottom because it was so heavy. And the interesting part is, I got back to the dock and I got most of my tackle, got back to the dock. I had 1 pole that was strapped to the boat that stayed in the boat, thank God. And it had my heavy braid on it. So I was able to get back, get everything loaded, change my clothes obviously first, got everything loaded up on the truck, and I proceeded to try to get, my phones were both wet, my GoPros were wet, I had my other one in the storage container, and I had my life jacket in the storage container, which was one of the automatic manual Bass Pro, the 2-strip with the skinny ones that takes a CO2 cartridge. So I had that in there. It went off because it had water, it hit water. So it was stuck inside the container, and I couldn't get to the release valve to release the air out of it. So I had to cut it, which means I just lost a $100 life vest, which really sucked. And I managed to get to the store as quick as I could, got a bunch of Ziploc bags, got a bunch of rice, and got stuff in the rice. So I immediately took everything apart as much as I could, the GoPros, the batteries, my phones, put them all in bags of rice. My work phone made it okay, that worked fine. And then my personal phone, it didn't do so well. It was like restarting, and I replaced the back on it once, so it probably didn't have a good seal on it, so it got wet. I was only in the water for 30-45 seconds. It wasn't that long, but it just still was enough to make some damage. So I let it dry out, but in the meantime, that night, I was out of town for work, and I watched a video on YouTube on how to retrieve fishing poles and stuff like that from the bottom. So what I found was a guy did a video on retrieving poles that he lost, and what he did was he used those metal chain fish stringers from like Walmart for a couple bucks and opened up all the hooks on it, and I put a 1 ounce weight on each end, and I tied one end to the braid. And I went back out there the next day, and it was a little difficult for me to get out there the next day, and I started casting, and it took me a little while. Finally, I got 1 pole up, one of my poles. I got it to the surface, and I got it in the boat, and I was like, yes, I got 1 pole back. I'm happy. You know, don't be greedy and trying to get, you know, hopefully I can get everything, but who knows, right? So 5 more casts later, I get the next pole, and I was like, oh man, this is awesome. My money ahead. I got I got both my poles back that I lost. And if I could get that tackle bag, it would be amazing. Well, the next 5 casts, I snagged the tackle bag and got it to the surface, and it came up to the side of the boat, and it was so heavy that it slipped on one of the hooks and went right back down to the bottom. So I lost that bag of tackle. Now, obviously, I make tackle, so it's not a big deal, but it is a big deal because there was a lot of stuff in there that, you know, I had a nice Rapala or Rapala or whatever you call it, fish scale, the nice one that's like $60, so that is gone. And I had an A-rig in there. I had a whole bunch of frogs and different lures and stuff like that. There was maybe a couple small custom lures in there, but nothing crazy. So I lost some stuff. So I'm a little bit disappointed about that. I mean, I'll go back probably and try to see if I can get it at some point. It's pretty heavy. I don't see anybody getting that out of there. And, you know, even if they snagged it with a lure, it'd be pretty tough to get it out there off the bottom. But it was a very weird experience. My phones both work now, by the way. My GoPros dried out. Both of them work. I really didn't lose hardly anything except for that bag of tackle and the life jacket. But I got super lucky, and I wanted to tell you guys, please, if you're in a kayak and you're out there in colder weather, make sure you wear your life jacket. It's one thing if you're out there in shorts and a t-shirt or sun shirts and you go in the water and it's 70 degrees or 80 degrees, it's not a big deal. That's fine. You can get back on, you can swim, right? You can get back up on your kayak. But when it's 50 degrees or less, it is cold. It shocks you. It is very tough to get back up onto the kayak. That's why I had to go to shore. Luckily, I was close enough to shore. I was like 15 feet from shore, close enough to get back onto that kayak. Thank God. I mean, I'm very lucky to have survived that. I mean, I could have panicked. I've been around water for a long time. I know what to do in those type of situations. I didn't panic, but it still shocks you. It still makes you very uneasy. So Be safe when you're out there. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, share, subscribe. I got some tackle making videos coming to you. I think I'm going to do some skirt making videos coming to you soon. And it might be from a hotel room because I'm traveling out on the road again and I'm going to be gone for a couple weeks for work coming up here soon. So I'm going to try to keep myself busy when I'm home to grab some stuff that I can do some different tackle making things like while I'm on the road, in a hotel room. So keep watching. Please like, comment, share, subscribe, and remember, keep on baiting.